think you need to imagine if your mother or your grandmother wants to retire, is she in a safe place? Is she in a place where she can knock on the neighbor's door and say, I need some help, I can't do something? Those things are important for life. My name is Kat, and I live in Thatcher Flats, and I love it. Well, I grew up in the Chicagoland area, a little town. It was a corn town. I detasseled corn when I was 13. I drove one of the corn trucks when I was 14. I wasn't old enough to drive a car, but they let me drive that. And I left there and eventually met somebody and moved up to Madison, Wisconsin. It didn't last long. And then we had a choice of to come back to Chicago or to come to Cincinnati. And I was 24 and had a little girl. And I told him, I said, I love Cincinnati. We'd been in Cincinnati for a week once for a conference. And I said, I love Cincinnati. I loved it. I loved it. Let's go. So we ended up buying a home up in Mount Washington. And then our marriage kind of just fell apart. Didn't know anybody. But I took a job with a doctor. I married, I met a Cincinnati guy, and then we moved into College Hill. And then eventually we divorced. I ended that and bought my condo in Sharonville, which I dearly loved. And then 5 years later, my son's out in California having their second child, and Mom didn't sound like she was ready for a second child. So I said, well, I guess Grandma has to go out, you know, and helped raise 2 grandchildren for 19 and a half years. But I knew I couldn't stay in California because it was too expensive. And a friend of mine in Cincinnati said, why don't you come home? And I said, come home. Oh, you mean to Cincinnati? Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea. Looking for an apartment is not easy, especially when you're on a limited income. When I came here, I slept in my car till I could get my apartment. And this was the one I was waiting for. I waited 2 months for Thatcher. When I finally got the call that said, you're in, you know, you want to come down and do the lease, you know, yeah, I'll be right there, you know, and be there in 10 minutes, you know. It's not only will make you feel good when you come in because it's nice and clean and straight and there are nice things here, comfortable things. You know, you have laundry here, you have a fitness room here, right next door to me. There's just a lot of things here that Pennrose has provided here in Thatcher Flats that you won't have in other places. I like the fact it's family. I didn't want to go to a senior place. I guess I'll never be a senior, really. We need to have places like this. I think it's important because it takes people off the street. It does take people off the street and out of their cars, right? It did to me. I want to grow culturally, socially, and this is a good place to do it. And I love it. I just love it.